Reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Kende Olale. Thank you for joining us. The Senate has passed the bill for an act to prohibit the manufacture, importation and use of chemical weapons in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko is standing by to highlight some of the significance of this bill.
Well, the devastating effects of chemical and biological weapons have become a global concern. And as a signatory to the United Nations Weapons Convention Protocol, the Senate, in its wisdom, commenced the process of domesticating the protocol. And then during the debate on this bill, senators were actually particular about the essence of this bill, what it seeks to achieve for Nigeria, especially in the area of enhancing security in the nation. And then I have with me Senator Jibrin Barao, who actually presented the report that was considered and passed today. He's here to tell us more on what that bill seeks to achieve. Thank you for joining us.
Well, let me not go into technicalities of the bill. The bill essentially is to bring under control anything to do with chemical or biological weapons, to make sure it's well controlled in a way that it will not be destructive to our nation. This is essentially, the reason for the processing of this bill, to also go in line with international conventions, to domesticate those conventions in Nigeria. So I'm optimistic that the process will be expedited in a manner that it will be passed by the House of Representatives as soon as possible, and then it will now be taken to the President. It will be taken to the President for his assent. And I'm sure, looking at the importance of the bill, certainly I'm very, very optimistic that the President will give his assent without delay.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, the Senate also passed the electric power sector reform amendment, which seeks to prohibit theft of electricity and its installations. Well, this is what we have for you at this moment.
Thank you, Ignatius, for that enlightening talk there. Still on legislative matters, the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to stop the issuance of fish import license, as it is inimical to the economic diversification policy of the federal government. The lawmakers on Tuesday's plenary also requested the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the Bank of Agriculture to provide incentives to local fish farmers to boost local production and create jobs. In addition, a motion from Representatives Jonathan Gaza, the House, expressed worries that fish importers have turned Nigeria into a dumping ground, in addition to other health concerns. An ad hoc committee will therefore be set up to investigate all licenses granted for fish importation within the last 1 year. Moving on to security matters, an elite force positioned to tackle insecurity in Nigeria with focus on air power describes the course for 2018 graduate of the Nigerian Air Force War College, Makurdi. Correspondent Najatu Tijani reports that the 18 graduates drawn from the Nigerian Armed Forces are now certified in advanced counterinsurgents operation with a focus on advanced air power tactics. The Minister of Defense, represented by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishakin, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, Deputy Governor of Benue State, Benson Abono, and traditional rulers hailed the accomplishment as a direct response to security challenges. New tactics adopted in human trafficking, especially in the northwest, compelled the Nigerian Immigration Service to convene a strategic meeting in Kano to spur the service to be more proactive in dealing with the problem through deployment of sophisticated equipment and identification of areas suspected to harbor human traffickers and the victim before moving to other areas. Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports.
Trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants have been a serious source of concern which affect the country's image. But the quest to curb the menace to the barest minimum by the present administration is yielding positive results. It was in line with the renewal impetus to halt human trafficking that the zonal meeting brought together controllers of immigration from northwest Nigeria to fashion out modern techniques to meet contemporary challenges. Assistant Controller General Zombi Champrika Oyedeji stressed the need for controllers to brace up and key into the directives of Controller General of Immigration in addressing the problem of trafficking in persons.
We are saying no to trafficking in women. Our mothers, our sisters, no to trafficking in children. The youth are the leaders of tomorrow.
On the issue of banditry and kidnapping in Sokoto and Zamfara states, the ACG commended the collaborative effort of the security agencies.
Once we gather, that is why we need the cooperation of everybody up to the ward level. Give any security personnel whom you feel can take the information to the right place so that our country can be rid of this menace.
During the meeting, the ACGs on B inspected the newly installed walkie-talkie for effective internal and external communication for officers and men of the Nigerian Immigration Service. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
The Bora Media Organization has hailed the military authorities and the police and other security agencies over their successes in the recent frontal offences to stem the tide of insecurity in the country. In a statement by its chairman, Ni Akinshiju, the group says the success stories of the last few days are a consequence of proactive actions initiated by the president. After an extraordinary meeting with service chiefs, heads of security agencies, and ministers saddled with the responsibility of overseeing security agencies. The group also noted that the international dimension of the security challenge, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, President Buhari was in charge at the weekend for an emergency regional security meeting involving about 29 countries, which was a good opportunity for the president to seek international support for the quest to stifle supply lines of small arms and light weapons to bandits and insurgents terrorizing some parts of the country. The group also emphasized that it was gratifying that the military and the police have risen to the occasion by recording great feats in Borno and Zamfara state, as well as the Abuja-Kaduna corridor. According to the group, President Buhari has acquainted himself well on the basis of the performance of security forces against banditry, insurgency and kidnapping in recent days. The nation appreciates the sacrifice of these gallant men and women who daily put their lives on the line in the interest of Nigerians and the country solidly behind them. Benue State Acting Governor Benson Abono has directed security agencies to fish out the killer of the son of a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party in Boko, who was gunned down Saturday night by unidentified gunmen. The acting governor, who stated this during a condolence visit to the home of the party chieftain, said he has also directed that a major stakeholder meeting in the area be convened to examine the rising cases of insecurity in the area and to tackle them. This is Nationwide, and our first stop is the Center of Excellence, Lagos, where Michael is standing by. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Kainde, and welcome to Lagos. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Adamu Mohammed, has stressed the enforcement of discipline in the Nigerian police force. The Acting Inspector General emphasized these when he paid a courtesy visit to the Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode over recent cases of extrajudicial killings recorded in the state. Nusa Osula reports.
The Acting Inspector General, who was accompanied on the visit by top police chiefs, explained that the affected officers have already been arrested and tried internally, while assuring residents that they would also face criminal prosecution for such acts, which according to him was against the ethics of the force.
We are to serve members of the public who are not their masters but who are their servants. And the officers and men in Lagos State have been doing a lot of good job. They have been fighting crime and they have been succeeding. But the act of few officers out of many in Lagos State is denting the good work that others have done.
Governor Akinwumi Ambode commended the acting IG for taking it upon himself to promptly address the extrajudicial killings in the state personally, despite his responsibilities across the country.
For the IG himself to come promptly to address issues that relate to, public feelings about SARS and other things, and actually talking to Nigerian police officers themselves. So that means it's taking the responsiveness to within the Nigerian police itself before we start to address extra issues that have to bother on citizens.
The governor assured the police chief of the continuous support of the state government. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Inasmuch as Lagos residents are looking forward to the commencement of the rainy season as a result of the intense heat being experienced, they are not oblivious of the challenges associated with the rains. One of such is the frequent flooding, which most times has devastating effects on residents in the state. Ken Egbeluge in this report takes a look at the state of drainage and government's effort to prevent flash floods across the metropolis whenever it rains.
Rainy season in the state has always raised concern across the metropolis. This is not unconnected with the level of preparation for rainy season in the state. This has made it difficult to ensure that excess water is properly channeled away from the roads and communities into the drainages. This is Agungi Ajiron Road off Lekki-Aja Expressway. Whenever it rains, this road is usually flooded. Some of the residents share their experiences.
The water, they always fill the roads. We cannot even walk around, even enter some people's houses.
Unless those that are privileged to have vehicles that they can drive inside the water. Nobody is willing to trek home down here to patronize us.
The quarter, they know the quarter no good. But if water full, the quarter no they flow.
They should create a drainage system where the waters can be channeled to and everything, and find easier way for people to be able to go to work when it's raining.
The state government has gone into maintenance of the channel. We have engaged a contractor on a scheduled maintenance basis for 3 years.
Once in a while, they bring signboards and they are like, okay, government at work, we're coming to work so day, and everybody's expectant.
The issue is that when they give out this project and they don't set up a committee to follow up this project, so when they do this thing in a halfway, they just write a letter to the government that, okay, this project has been done.
Most of the houses also, they build them to cover where sewage should supposed to pass.
Some stakeholders in the state believe that the time to act is now in order to avoid recurrent disaster. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
Managing domestic and industrial waste in densely populated areas requires some form of proactive techniques as well as evacuation to forestall environmental degradation and health hazards. This is what the Lagos State government has done with its biggest dump site at Olushosun, Ojota. Paulo Mukago tells us more about recent developments at the site.
This is the Olusoso dump site, Lagos. It is reputed to be the largest not only in Lagos but Nigeria. It receives about 2.1 million tons of waste annually, comprising solid, construction, and electronic waste. The dump site has evolved over the years with steps taken to reduce the stench and gases that are emitted from the waste. Also, the liquid water that comes out from the decomposed waste has been properly channeled to a pond within the site, using the carpet system to cover waste with sand and laterite from the environment to reduce the odor, methane gas, and carbon dioxide.
We have enough machineries to push the refuse, which will not be a problem because when they don't get to push on time, that can also be a problem. But now we have enough machineries to push the waste into the pit.
Passers-by and people in the neighborhood say a lot of differences and changes have been noticed, particularly in the last 1 year.
I also noticed that some of the places were covered up. The ones that were burning were covered up.
You don't smell like before. I thought some people passed there before. We would say, hey, government. But don't change now.
Unlike before, when we come in, there's this hustle and bustle to jump. But now you go in, you come out, your work is quite easier and faster now. Established
in 1992, the dump site will be shut in the next 3 years, giving way for a research center to train professionals in recycling and waste management. In Lagos, Paulo Mukago, NTA News.
That is our contribution from Lagos. The show continues after this break. Please stay with us.
Marketing of broadcast media products requires special skills which can only be acquired through training and experience. NTA TV College Jos is therefore organizing an intensive 3-week course on modern trends in broadcast media marketing. The course will equip participants with necessary skills to deal with contemporary marketing challenges and competition in the broadcast media. It is an essential course for marketers in the broadcast media to sharpen their skills and improve their capacities. Date 23rd April to 10th May 2019. Venue NTA Television College Refuge Jos. Course fee 100,000 naira per participant, accommodation inclusive. For more inquiries, please contact us on 0803 314 4383 or 0806 980 9807. NTA TV College Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
Export incentive in agriculture for economic growth and development. That's the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. The program, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m., promises to be incisive and educative. Don't miss it.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Thank you for staying with us. And straight to judiciary matters. The FCTI court sitting in Maitama has dismissed the embezzlement charges filed against the suspended Director General of the Security and Exchange Commission, Muniru Gazar, by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Related Offences Commission. The court ruled that the severance package paid to him is in line with the guidelines of the commission. The ICPC accused Muniru Gazar of using his position as the DG of SEC in 2015 to corruptly appropriate 115 million naira to himself as a severance package after he had worked there as an executive commissioner. The second defendant was accused of aiding Gazar to misappropriate the funds. In his judgment, Justice Hussaini Baba Yusuf said the charges of criminal breach of trust and corrupt enrichment were not sustainable, and the guidelines which established the Security Act gave the board authorities to formulate guidelines for its smooth conduct, and this include fixing the severance package of the DG. Citizens' participation, especially by way of holding political appointees accountable, has been identified as a key factor in complementing government effort in the fight against corruption. To achieve this, a body known as Say No campaign has reiterated the need for media and civil societies to create awareness that will engage the public in ending corruption in the country. This was at a roundtable organized with the aim to assess the anti-corruption crusade and come up with fresh ideas that will help the government fight against corruption.
As citizens of the country, as the ones who bear the greatest brunt of corruption, we need to work to ensure that as this new government comes in, that we are able to at least give them some mirror of how they can look and reflect and see what new things that can be brought to bear.
The promise of the administration to actually confront corruption crisis in the country and to prioritize the fight against corruption, I think has made probably the biggest difference. So the political will, I think, is probably something that Nigerians that have been a part of this fight against corruption will celebrate. I think that the administration's prioritization of the asset recovery work also is something that is outstanding.
Moving on, Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum and Resources, Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachiko, has advised Nigerians against the current reactive commercial behavior in the face of rumor of pending removal of subsidy in petroleum product. He made the remark in Good Morning Nigeria, NT's flagship program. Ololade Alayaki has details.
The Minister for Petroleum Resources assured Nigerians of sufficient petroleum products, while cautioning motorists against panic buying. He also noted that the need to fix local refineries, involve and get more private sectors present in the sector to reduce importation of petroleum products and promote local content. He also stated that 3 out of the 10 modular refineries will soon be up and running.
All over the world, petroleum subsidy issues have been issues for the president of a country. They're that emotive. You couldn't just get up and say, I found a solution, I'm going to go and execute it, because he has other considerations. There are security considerations, there are social upheaval considerations, there are geographical balancing considerations. That's why he's president.
Other guests also noted that removing subsidy on petroleum products should not be the focus for now, but how to subsidize other sectors of the economy that would create employment.
When you are spending money on subsidy, some other things have been suffering over the years. There's need for us to really sit down. What are these benefits beyond keeping social unrest in a keg?
They also emphasized the need to intensify gas utilization in the power sector.
I applaud the federal government. They've been able to bring down the issue of pricing. Then we need more in terms of funding to incentivize gas production.
As a country, Nigeria is rich. When you talk about investment in gas, you are even talking about going towards a cleaner fossil fuel.
The guests advised managers of the industry to urgently address the current bureaucracy in the sector. In Abuja, Ololade Alayaki, NTA News.
Surveyors who compromise the code of ethics of their profession will have their certificate withdrawn. This note of caution is coming from the Surveyors Council of Nigeria, as 371 members were inducted into the council in Abuja, bringing the total number of registered land surveyors to almost 4,000.
The numerical strength of the surveying industry in Nigeria continued to widen, as 371 fresh surveyors inducted by the Surveyors Council of Nigeria. Expectedly, they are glad with the new feat attained. But for the grandmasters in the surveying field, they are coming at the most challenging time in the history of the profession, because they have a critical role in stemming the rising tide of building collapses in Nigeria.
They have to practice professionally. Surveyors that will determine how the building should be set out and how vertical is that pillars and the support structures that will keep the building, so as to save the lives and cost of a lot of things which are occasioned by the collapse of building and other infrastructure.
The country needs to know to solve most of the environmental problems that we have, and we must not disappoint. Whatever you see in us that is not good, do not do what? Do not emulate it. And above all, remember that you have a service to God and to your country.
Yes, challenging moment, but for the Surveyor General of the Federation, the federal government is set to offer them the best, considering their indispensable roles in the nation's infrastructural industry.
As I speak, recruitment is going on. So those of you who are qualified, please avail yourself.
of these chances.
Certificates and seals confirm their admission into the respected surveying family. For the outstanding ones, awards and prizes presented to them. And they expect the best from them. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
Let's now go over to Jos for more stories on Nationwide.
Welcome to Jos. As Catholics the world over celebrate the Christmas Mass, political leaders and the entire populace have been urged to contribute to the welfare of the less privileged and shun post-election violence that can cause ethno-religious clashes among communities in Nigeria. The Apostolic Administrator, Jos Diocese, His Grace Archbishop Ignatius Kaigama, said peace and unity can always thrive in a conducive environment. Ijeoma Ozomena reports that the Mass was celebrated at the Fatima Cathedral, Jos.
Mass is a solemn service and the display of unity between the bishop and the priest, as well as the renewal of their priestly vows for the salvation of mankind. The Apostolic Administrator of Jos Diocese, Archbishop Ignatius Kaigama, took his homily from the book of Luke chapter 4, urging the priests to persevere in their calling, be Christ-like, and render selfless service to mankind. He urged Christians as they prepare for the celebration of Easter to make straight their paths and rededicate their lives to the service of God and the nation in holiness.
And we are gathered to gladly renew our priestly commitment to spread the good news, bringing hope to the hopeless, comfort to those who suffer, and being available to serve people in a selfless manner without putting self first or counting the cost.
While blessing the holy oils where the celebration of the Mass takes its name from, he emphasized that the holy chrism oil, which gives a sweet smell, reminds Catholic faithfuls of the order of sanctity and they strive for salvation. The blessed oil is usually used for sacraments of baptism, confirmation, marriage, as well as consecration of altars and dedication of churches throughout the year. In Jos, Ijeoma Ozemena, NTA News.
Chairman, Plateau State Traditional Council of Chiefs and Emirs and Bongom Jos, Da Jacob Ganguba, has restated the role of traditional institutions in peace building and containing the security challenges facing the country. The Royal Father gave this indication when he granted audience to the management of NTA Jos Network Center in his palace in Jos. Kim Godz reports.
His Royal Majesty Da Jacob Gyambuba, who warmly received management of the center, commended NTA for the quality programming and good efforts at showcasing the rich tourism potentials of the state. While noting areas of improvement, he also applauded NTA Jos for the wide coverage of the previous Nzemberon Festival. The Zonal Director of the Center, Mr. Peter Ochibo, commended the role of the Royal Father in the promotion of peace and security, as well as the projection of the rich cultural heritage of the Plateau people, which is in line with the mission and core values of NTA in projecting the true African perspective and commitment to peace. The ZD said he is in the palace to pay homage to the Royal Father and pledge his loyalty and acknowledge his contributions to the peace efforts in the state. He assured that the center will continue to partner with the Traditional Council for the interests of the state. In Jos, Kim Godz, NTA News.
Well, that's all from Jos. Back to you on Nationwide.
Thank you, Sani. To help teachers keep up to date on the most current concept of teaching, the Defence and Police Officers' Wives Association, the POA, is embarking on a 3-day workshop to promote professional growth among our teachers. Linda Ogidi reports.
Learning and professional development is important for students' achievement. With the team, higher order thinking and teaching skills, a recipe for national development. President of DIPOWA emphasizes the importance of the training.
We want them to be creative, we want them to be evaluative. So that's why we know it's very important to train and retrain our teachers for improvement.
The teachers were also encouraged to be conversant with techniques that will enhance their thinking and teaching skills.
If foundation is set, is in order, is concrete, you find out that these children skyrect easily without stress.
The school is becoming bigger. The secondary school is also in it. So we need to learn how to make the students to become a kind of self-sustaining students. So they need to gain here, we make them to work on it and to serve themselves instead of us to be with them all the time.
It is agreed here that workshops like this are vital for an effective teacher learning and professional development. In Abuja, Linda Ogede, NTA News.
Still on education, accounting and other officers in the chain of financial transaction in the Ministry of Education, its parastatals and federal government colleges have been urged to apply themselves diligently to all prescribed accounting guidelines and financial regulations. The Director of Tertiary Education, Mr. Joe Lojo, stated this on behalf of the Permanent Secretary at a workshop on the use of government integrated financial management information system in preparing public sector accounting standard. The director said such training is imperative in building competent officers with in-depth understanding of the world new accounting system, most especially now that government is focusing on judicious utilization of funds.
Designed to update your scope of IPSA's practices for comprehensive and consistent reporting of government financial statements at the end of every financial year.
Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports that the integrated financial management information system is designed to make use of modern information and communication technologies to assist federal government plan and use its financial resources for efficient and effectively. Maiduguri is next in line for our nationwide, and Mohammed Ibrahim is our guide.
Thanks, Kende, and welcome to Maiduguri. Ahead of Easter celebration, Borno State government has inaugurated a high-powered committee for the distribution of Easter gifts to enable Christian communities celebrate Easter with ease across the state. Rebecca Bature reports.
The State Deputy Governor Usman Mohammed Rukwa, while inaugurating the committee, charged members to ensure judicious distribution of the items among the brethren. He noted that the committee members were selected and appointed based on merit and past experience, therefore appealed to them to justify the confidence reposed in them. The Deputy Governor, while wishing all Christians a successful Easter celebration, urged them to pray for peace and stability to reign in the state and the country at large. The Commissioner, Minister of Religious Affairs, Mustafa Panarambi, said the Borno State government decided to set up the high-powered committee in order to ensure fair distribution of Easter gifts to Christian brothers and peaceful commemoration. The Chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Borno State Bishop Naga Mohammed, thanked Borno State government for its support and assistance to Christians in the state. In Maiduguri, Rebecca Buturi, NTA News.
Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative, PCNI, has facilitated another contribution from the oil and gas sector of Petroleum Products Pricing and Regulatory Agency, PPRA, towards presentation of medical equipment and school furniture to Borno State government. Now details of the report. The PCNI has been working with the Borno State government alongside Victim Support Fund and other stakeholders to provide urgent needs in terms of healthcare, education, as well as rebuilding of critical infrastructure ravaged by the Boko Haram insurgency over the years. Vice Chairman PCNI, represented by State Coordinator Chiro. Again, and welcome to Maiduguri. Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative, PCNI, has facilitated another contribution from the oil and gas sector of Petroleum Products Pricing and Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, towards presentation of medical equipment and school furniture to Borno State government. Now details of the report. The PCNI has been working with the Borno State government alongside Victim Support Fund and other stakeholders to provide urgent needs in terms of healthcare, education, as well as rebuilding of critical infrastructure ravaged by the Boko Haram insurgency over the years. Vice Chairman PCNI, represented by State Coordinator Chiroma Abba Kaka, said this is another intervention to improve healthcare and education in Borno State as part of the overall contributions in the areas of humanitarian assistance, resettlement, and economic development. The representative of the PPPRA, Abubakar Jafar, on behalf of the governing board, management, and staff, handed over the medical equipment to the state government, which he said is part of assistance to equip hospitals. Borno State Commissioner of Reconstruction, Yarima Saleh, said the first consignment of school furniture to be received in Bama town include 2,100 students' desks and 105 teachers' tables, alongside the medical equipment worth a total of 150 million naira. The medical equipment presented include 10 pieces each of infant warmer machines, baby incubators, electric and manual suction apparatus, delivery bed trides, blood banks, refrigerators, as well as phototherapy lights, wheelchairs, and vacuum extractors, including baby weighing scales, plus adult and child resuscitators. In other news, peace has been identified as the only panacea that can stimulate overall cohesion in the society and nation building in general. This came up during a stakeholders dialogue session on sustenance of peace organized by the National Orientation Agency, Borno State. Abubakar Mohamed Musa was there and now reports.
Tact Building a People of Peace, the stakeholders dialogue session brought together representatives of various paramilitary organizations as well as traditional leaders among other key players towards giving far-reaching recommendations that will ensure lasting peace in the state.
And without peace, nobody will achieve anything, and no development, any development will take place without attending to peace. So we are appealing to people to always maintain peace in all their dealings so that the country will go smoothly.
In their submissions, representatives of various paramilitary organizations and INEC identified some gaps disrupting the peace processes put in place, while Mr. Benjamin Lantern from Center for Humanitarian Dialogue underscored the importance of allowing women and youths to access their fundamental rights. Chief Host, who is also the district head of Old Maiduguri, Abba Umar Abba Garbai, suggested the need for all stakeholders to make significant contributions towards sustaining the relative peace being enjoyed in some parts of the state for complete revival of socio-economic activities. Other district heads in Jere Council area who spoke at the occasion said the peaceful conduct of the last elections is an indication that their people have high regards for traditional institutions. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohamed Musa.
That will be all from this end. The rest of Nationwide continues after this break.
Thank you, Mohamed. River State government to prosecute owners of a collapsed 7-story building, Mina, in our Port Harcourt Network Center, is ready for us.
Good afternoon, Kehinde. You're welcome to Port Harcourt. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, certificates of return to winners in the just concluded Rivers State Governorship and State Assembly elections. On Nengie Fine Face reports.
The electoral process in Rivers State has finally come to a deserving climax with the distribution of certificates of returns to all elected at the State Assembly and, of course, the governor and deputy governor of the state. 32 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly received their certificates of returns. 30 of those members are of the People's Democratic Party, while 2 constituencies, that of Oyigbo and Asarito Constituency 1, are of the SDP.
I am confident that going forward, elections in Rivers State will be peaceful and the narrative of Rivers State elections will be positively changed forever.
We can say confidently too that many voters in the state have access to polling units and indeed exercise the right to vote in this election than in previous elections in this state.
I have said, forgive me if I step on your throat. And I have forgiven everybody who has stepped on my own.
That whatever law we are going to pass on the floor of assembly is a law that will have positive impact on our people.
In Port Harcourt on Nengie Fine Face, and news.
Senator Rivers Southeast Magnus Abe has joined members of All Progressives Congress APC in Rivers State to close ranks while urging the national leadership of the party to chart a new course in the state ahead of 2023. Abe stakeholders meeting held in Port Harcourt, prompted by the outcome of the Supreme Court judgment on APC governorship litigations before the Apex Court. Osinachi Abraham has details.
For there to be order and progress in any society, there must be concerted effort to put off disputes and disagreements. Persons. The Supreme Court judgment on the suit filed by the Abe's faction concerning the outcome of the APC party's primaries in Rivers State put paid to the agitation surrounding the governorship candidacy of Senator Magnus Abe in Rivers State. Senator Abe said he was pleased with the verdict as he called on members of the party to remain united, steadfast and committed to the ideals of the party. According to Senator Magnus Abe, the ball is now in the court of the party's National Working Committee to do the needful.
Therefore, to begin the urgent, necessary, important, and inescapable task of putting the APC together in Rivers State, I wish to use this opportunity to call on the national leadership of the party. Let us begin to put things together.
The meeting also called on the federal government to expedite action on the Ogoni cleanup, Bodo Boni Road, and Port Harcourt International Airport modernization projects for even development. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
Rivers State government has directed the State Attorney General to prosecute Sir Francis Alagwa, the owner of the collapsed 7-story building in New GRA Port Harcourt, lives to early graves. Ogedi Nyekra reports that this was part of the resolutions of the State Executive Council on the dastard incident. Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Ima Oka, briefed journalists after the State Executive Council meeting.
The commissioner said Council also directed the Attorney General to person whose actions constitute criminality as established by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry that investigated the collapsed 7-story building. He noted that the council accepted that it would be inappropriate to recall the Commissioner of Urban Development and Physical Planning, Dr. Rizin Onya, because of the inappropriate actions he took committed.
The council also accepted that the owner of the property is Francis J. Alagwa. Accordingly, he should bear all civil liability regarding and relating to compensations to families of the deceased persons, medical expenses borne by those who were injured in that unfortunate incident.
The council also directed the State Civil Service Commission to take disciplinary action against East Town Planner, Director of Buildings and Plan Approvers, as well as the Director of Development Control for Professional. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekra, NTA News.
That's a bit from Port Harcourt.
Thank you, Mina. Moving on now, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed was a guest at the Voice of America corporate headquarters in Washington, D.C. Anthony Faustin reports on the activities of the minister and other issues.
Senior officials of the Voice of America African Service were on hand to receive the minister and straight into the studio. Then, the interview for both radio and television platforms got underway. First shot was on the February 23rd election.
When you look at the presidential election, even in those states where we lost governorship election, we won very handsomely in the presidential election, which means that the president's achievement was appreciated by almost everybody.
Then, the Zamfara state situation.
The last 2 weeks have also shown quite a lot of improvement. I think the twin approach of the government.
Building the economy, corruption, just as the question on are there sacred cows in the President Muhammadu Buhari's government came up.
Today, if anything, corruption has been driven underground in Nigeria. It's no longer on the surface, it's no longer on the table. But the other way to look at it is that, you see, one way of corruption fighting back is also to try to smear everybody.
Nigeria and the United States relation was not left out. With this over, and the host expressing satisfaction with explanations provided by the minister walked into the Georgetown University, where Professor Scott Taylor, director of the university's African Studies program, was waiting with his students to engage the minister. The students spared the minister no breath as they fielded questions every curious child will field at a parent. The minister, on his part, towed the fatherly line, responding to all that seemed to be agitating the minds of the students by explaining what the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has achieved in 4 years and its focus for another 4-year term.
Make no mistake about that, the government will not negotiate the issue of corruption, because there's a correlation between corruption and underdevelopment, between corruption and poverty. So it will still be the bedrock of the agenda of Mr. President. And then insecurity and economic prosperity are also linked.
In the end, the students, most of whom are of Nigerian descent, born in the United States, engaged the minister with a renewed hope of looking forward to coming back home to Nigeria upon graduation, knowing that they have a country they can call home. In Washington, D.C., Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Up next is Sport Update, and Ayodeji Makinde is our guide.